And my dad installed him, and the rest of the family looked and just said, "Wow, you did a magnificent job." And my dad said, "No, I didn't. It's 1/8 of an inch higher on this side. Let me get a tape measure and show you. I'm going to take them all back down and start over and do it right." That's my dad. Oh my goodness. And my mom's Italian, and my mom said, "Don't you dare." And my mom is like a mama bear with her cubs. She's so protective of me. So when I was in high school and the Catholic University offered a really generous scholarship, my mom told me, "Please go there. Just go try it. Even if you only go 1 year, try it." So I said, "All right." So I'm at Catholic University, and I made real good friends with this guy in the dorm. He was from Florida, and he invited me to come down with him over spring break. So now we're down in Florida at Daytona Beach, and there's thousands of girls in bikinis. And then he starts talking about, we could transfer down here, and it'll be great. And I'm a complete idiot. If anybody knows me, I can't plan, I can't think ahead. It's just God watches over me, and people are there at the right time in my life to help me out. But not in this case. So I moved to Florida, but before I could move to Florida, I had a summer, and I fell in love with this wonderful girl. There's a picture of us. It just went through, unfortunately, but it's at the beginning, Sharon. And so now I'm moving to Florida. Well, guess what? All those girls in bikinis, they're not there anymore. They don't actually live in Florida. They just come there for spring break from other places. And now I'm living in a trailer park with my buddy, and everyone else there is retired. So, it's terrible. But thankfully, there was this thing called the co-op program, and they were able to get me an interview here at Goddard. So it was amazing. Wow. So I come from my interview. Let me get a sip, please. I got nothing to say. That's never true, by the way. My son, I got nothing to say. So, okay, so I'm here from my interview to work at NASA. And the guy I'm supposed to meet, it's like 1:30 in the afternoon, and he's not there. And so I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And finally I go next door, and I say, "Hey, I'm here to see Chuck for an interview. Do you have an idea where Chuck might be?" And they say, "Actually, we do have a pretty good idea where Chuck is. You see, that someone this morning called in a bomb threat. And Chuck's probably down at Lampert's having a few beers." If I were you, I would just come back tomorrow. And so that's what I did. I went home, and I came back the next day, and I met Chuck, and got a job here, and it was good.
Yeah.
If you're really lucky, when you're young, you find something that God gave you a lot of talent for, and that you love doing. And that wasn't, I didn't have that, I'm sorry to say. And by the end of my junior year in college, I just didn't feel like engineering was right for me. And I remember a conversation that I had with my dad, telling him I think I'm going to drop out of school. And my wonderful dad, who has only given me advice probably 3 times in my whole life, he said, "Tim, there were several times in my career where I would have gotten a promotion, but I didn't have a college degree. And if I were you, you're so close. Just stick it out. Stick it out, get that diploma. I don't care if you never work a day the rest of your life as an engineer, that's fine, but get that piece of paper, because they can never take that away from you." And so I did. I took my dad's advice, and Goddard being the wonderful place that it is, you can move around. So I talked about working with people, and that's how I ended up in quality assurance. And actually, for a guy in your early 20s and you're traveling to the West Coast a lot and you're working on Hubble Space Telescope, it was pretty cool for about a year, until I realized that it's my job to tell other people how to design things. And I've only done it for 1 year. And they've done it for 20 years, and I'm supposed to tell them the right way to do it. And then a magical thing happened. They came out with a kind of computer that you buy as a kit, and it had all the parts that you just assemble it and solder it all together. And once you built the computer, you could write software. And I bought one of those and built it and started writing software, and I found, oh my God, this is really fun. I realized, all of a sudden I realized, this is what God gave me. This is the talent God gave me. But I never knew that because I never got above a C in a programming class. I mean, my first programming class was high school, and I was so immature, I just remember thinking, this teacher's an idiot. And it wasn't that he was an idiot, it's that God gave me all this talent. But he didn't give me maturity. So when the teacher was showing the way to write a program, and he's in front of the whole class, here's how we would do this, and then there's a student in the back that says, why are you doing it the hard way? Why don't you do it this way instead? Let me show you. He didn't appreciate my influence. So then the next step was that I was able to move towards software here at Goddard. And I got some recommendations, and they said, there's a lot of software code 730 under Mr. Don Kruger. Just about anywhere you go is great. Just don't get in Bill McCarthy's place. Because Bill works extremely hard, and he'll expect you to do the same. So I took that advice, and I got in Lou Koshmeter's group. But then Lou transferred out, and they reorganized, and I ended up in Bill McCarthy's group. That's just the way it goes for me. But the part out that's important to understanding me is way back when I was co. Sorry, I'm going to jump around. But you have to know this to understand me. How I'm always trying to help other people. There was a day where I was co-opting. My car would not start. That's no problem. I only live a mile. At that time, I only lived a mile down the road here from Goddard. I figured I'll just walk to work. Well, it started to rain. It was kind of lightly at first, but then a little heavier, and then a little heavier, and then pretty soon it was really raining hard. And I'm walking down Greenbelt Road, and then I got to a point where I could see the building I worked at, and I had a great idea. Well, I could walk another quarter mile in the pouring down rain to the gatehouse and make the guard come out in the rain to look at my badge, and then walk another quarter mile back to where I worked. But you know, I could save everybody a lot of trouble if I just hopped the fence. So I did that. Unfortunately, while I was at the very top of the fence negotiating my move, a car drove by inside Goddard, and someone saw me. Must have called security, because by the time I was approaching the building, there was a siren from behind me, and when a car pulled up, two security guys came out and said, "Hold it there, sir," you know. And my boss got a letter that said, "Please try to control your employee."
You're violating. Oh, I forgot that's it.
Because please don't feel bad. I think every boss that I ever had appreciated that my heart was in the right place, but I'm not the best at following the rules.
Yeah, I will tell you, as everyone I'm sure knows, to retire, there is an administrative form you got to fill out. Tim was awesome at getting that filled out this week. In fact, he was coming every day and showed me the progress. So,
Learn to hike.
we're not that bad at the process. It's just we got to find the right ones for it.
Anyway, so moving on to the software branch, and all of a sudden I'm working with all these great people. Tom Field, who's not here today, and then one day there's this great kid that comes in, pretty overweight, Bruce Sabacki.
Oh, yeah.
And Tom and I invite him out to throw the frisbee at lunch. And one of us tosses a frisbee, and it just goes sailing over Bruce's head and out of sight. And Bruce turns around like he's an NFL receiver for the Redskins with this long stride and chases down the frisbee. And Tom and I both looked at each other and just said, wow, that guy's amazing. And that led to two of my best friendships with Tom, who got me into backpacking and nature, and Bruce and I, who shared sports, all kinds of teams. And that led to softball and people like Mike Plants and Nick Gray, and Mark Flanagan, and Maureen, and Edwin, and just a lot of fun playing sports that I really enjoyed. And that was the software group. And then there was this new system that became known as Assist. that you know now. But I want to tell you a story about Edwin. Involves Edwin and Mr. Kruger, Mr. Don Kruger, in a standoff. And do you remember this, Edwin? There was a naming contest
Yeah.
to name our new system. Acronym, right. And Edwin came up with the generic GUTS. The name it worked out to be GUTS. And Mr. Kruger came up with ASSIST. So then we're all together, and Mr. Kruger said, well, let's put it to a vote. And then all in favor of GUTS.
Yeah, me.
Everybody
I was.
except for Mr. Kruger raised their hand. And then all in favor of ASSIST, Mr. Kruger raised his hand.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Kruger said, well, I guess that settles it. ASSIST. And thanks to that, though, I got to work with such great people like Jeff Condren, Jim Dowling, Edwin was on that team, and Dan Grogan, Larry Alexander. I have to say, that was one of the highlights of my career. Wait,